Envision a fortress on a hill in northern Hungary. In the autumn of 1552, holding fewer than 2,000 people. The army approaching it numbered 40,000. The math was simple. The outcome was not. The year was 1552. The Ottomans had already taken much of Hungary. Central territories were theirs. Now the campaign moved north, toward the silver mining towns that kept Habsburg resistance alive. Eger guarded that road, and Eger was next. Inside the walls, István Dobó knew the numbers. Roughly 2,000 soldiers, irregular fighters, and townspeople, against a force many times larger. No relief coming, powder finite, walls already weathered. What remained was preparation, and the decision to use it. What they lacked in numbers, they made up in discipline. Dobó organized rotating watches. He assigned repair crews before the first cannon fired. He rationed powder with the precision of someone who knew how much he had and how long he needed it to last. And then, the Ottoman guns opened. Stone cracked, dust filled the air, trenches crept forward. Day after day, the same rhythm. Artillery in the morning, infantry testing the walls by afternoon, repairs through the night. The siege was not designed to be quick. It was designed to be certain. To understand why this fortress mattered, you have to understand what Hungary had become. In 1526 at Mohács, the kingdom fractured. The Ottomans took the center. The Habsburgs held the edges. What remained balanced between two empires on a knife's edge, and Eger sat on that knife. The 1552 campaign was not improvised. The Ottomans coordinated across multiple targets simultaneously. Temesvar fell. Szolnok fell. Each fortress that yielded tightened the ring. Eger was not the final objective. It was the next one. And after it, the mining towns lay open. Among the defenders was Gergely Bornemisza, not a commander, but an inventor. His weapon, the fire pot. Clay vessels packed with gunpowder, resin, and shrapnel rolled down the slopes at the moment attackers were most concentrated. On a narrow approach with men pressed shoulder to shoulder, a single pot could break an assault. He did not have many. He made each one count. The first major assault came after sustained bombardment. A section of wall had been weakened enough to invite direct attack. Infantry advanced. Scaling ladders rose against battered stone. Combat compressed to arm's length. Pikes thrusting downward. Stones dropped from above. Every defender counted. Every loss could not be replaced. As the siege lengthened, fatigue became as dangerous as artillery. Repairs at night while guns cooled. Mortar packed into cracks that might reopen by morning. Food rationed. The Ottoman commanders increased focus on a single weakened sector. A breach was no longer hypothetical. It was anticipated. Beyond artillery and stone, a quieter battle unfolded inside the fortress. Morale became as fragile as masonry. Sleep grew scarce. Every explosion felt closer than the last. Yet discipline did not fracture. Watches rotated. Civilians carried stones beside soldiers. Women transported water under fire. In the fortress church, priests offered mass each morning to those about to take watch. Something held them together that no cannon could target. What the attackers measured in firepower, the defenders answered in cohesion. When the wall finally gave way, the breach opened a jagged corridor into the courtyard. Ottoman infantry surged toward it. Defenders withdrew to improvised barricades of timber and rubble. The battle compressed into confined space. Noise amplified, visibility reduced. And in that narrow corridor, Bornemissa's remaining devices were released at close range. Attackers regrouped, and regrouped again. Waves pressed forward and fell back. Both sides recalculated. Twice more the Ottoman commanders ordered renewed assaults. Each time defenders met them with stone salvaged from collapsed towers, roof tiles torn from houses, the last of Bornemissa's grenades. Smoke from artillery drifted back across attacking positions, obscuring visibility at a crucial moment. Defenders counterattacked into that confusion. Fortress did not fall. Inside Eger, there was no certainty of relief. The walls were damaged, the defenders exhausted. But the confrontation had narrowed from grand strategy to simple persistence. One side sought decisive conquest, the other sought time. After weeks of strain, the calculus shifted. What had begun as overwhelming pressure had slowly turned into a question of cost. Time no longer worked in one direction. Every day the fortress held, the balance adjusted, not dramatically but enough to force a different kind of decision. The breach had not secured control. Losses mounted. Commanders assessed cost against objective and reconsidered continuation. The Ottoman commanders made their decision. The guns were pulled back. The trenches fell silent. The army that had expected swift victory turned south. The fortifications they had labored to breach were still holding. The defenders who should have broken had not broken. Inside the fortress, there was no celebration. Only the quiet work of counting the living, closing the eyes of the dead and preparing for what might come next. The guns had stopped, but no one knew if they would start again. The fortress still stood. Fractured walls, burned timbers, exhausted faces along the battlements. No dramatic moment of triumph, the kind shown in paintings. Just men who had held on and were still there when the enemy left. Only survival. In the short term, the mining towns remained secure. Habsburg authority in northern Hungary held its ground. The campaign of 1552 did not break the frontier. The sacrifice Eger had bought was measured in years of continued resistance, and in the knowledge that a defended line can hold. In the long memory of the region, Eger became something larger than a fortification, a reminder that scale does not guarantee outcome, that discipline and preparation, held together by men who had no good reason to believe they would survive, can outlast dominance. What was meant to crush a garrison instead confirmed one fortress, 2,000 defenders, against an empire. The walls were breached. The empire withdrew. The mining towns of northern Hungary held, and history took note